Hi, this is Christy. We are going to work on a word problem today, and as you can see, it has a fraction in it. That is what we have been studying in this module. I'm going to refer to the Solving Math Word Problems checklist as I work. Step 1 is always to understand the problem. Let's read it. Helen used her debit card to withdraw $400 from her checking account. She spent 3/5 of this amount on groceries. How much did Helen spend on groceries? Let's just do a quick draw here. She has a debit card. And she withdrew $400. That is an important number there. I'm going to outline it. But then of that money, she spent 3/5. Again, that's going to be a very important number. She spent 3/5 on groceries. Yum. Maybe she bought a can of something or some meat, who knows? An apple. Okay. Now, are there any unknown words here? I have bolded the word debit because that is one of the words in your Quizlet for the week. What is debit? Many of you might use debit cards, but I actually don't use one. So the definition for debit is to withdraw or subtract from an account. Let's make a minus sign here. She withdrew $400 from her account. I think we have enough information to solve this problem, so let's come up with a strategy. We are asked to find what is 3/5 of $400. That's what I need to find to be able to answer the problem. And I want to give you a little hint here. Whenever you have a number, either a decimal or a fraction or even a percentage, and it says of an amount, you are going to use multiplication. I think that will come in handy for you during some of your word problems. So my strategy today is going to be to multiply 3/5 times $400. Let's get a quick estimate before we do that. 3/5 is a little bit more than half. Half of 5 would be 2.5, and I have a little bit more than that. So I think that she spent a little bit more than half of her $400. So the estimate, I am going to estimate that the money is going to be between, a little bit more than half, would be $210 and $250. That's my estimate for how much she spent on groceries. So let's do step 3, which says to solve the problem. 3/5 times $400. Now $400 is a whole number. You can put it over 1 if it makes you feel more comfortable multiplying two fractions like that. Now we know from the fraction properties that when you multiply two fractions together, you go straight across. Multiply the numerators, and then you're going to go straight across the bottom. Multiply the denominators. So let's do 400 times 3. You could use a calculator, but we'll use it, do longhand. 0 times 3 is 0, 0 times 3 is 0, 4 times 3 is 12. So 1200 goes on the top. 5 times 1 is 5. Now you can't leave your fraction like this because you need to reduce 1200 over 5. Which would be 1200 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go into 1? It doesn't. So now we have to look at 2 digits. How many times does 5 go into 12? 2 times completely. 2 times 5 is 10. And you subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. Now you have to drag this other 0 down. How many times does 5 go into 20? 4 times evenly. 4 times 5 is 20. Now you're left with 1 0, so you can drag it down if you want to, or just carry it up to the top. So 1200 divided by 5 equals 240. $240. Now it's a good idea to check your math. So once again, we'll check 400 times 3. 0 times 3 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. 4 times 3 is 12. That's 1,200. 1,200 goes on the top. 5 times 1 is 5. And we have to divide. 1,200 divided by 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Do your subtraction. 2 minus 0 is 2. Carry your 0 down. And 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract and you get 0. There's still a 0 left over, which you carry to the end. All right. Now let's check and see if we came close to the answer. Our estimate was between 210 and 250. Oh, this is great because the actual answer is 240, which is between 210 and 250. Good, makes sense. Now, did we answer the question? How much did Helen spend on groceries? $240, which would be 3/5 of $400. Excellent.